The crystalline ships appeared at dawn, 7 massive vessels taking position above Earth's major cities. Their hulls shimmered with colors humans had no names for, technology so advanced it seemed to bend reality around its edges. Global panic lasted approximately 6 hours before the aliens broadcast their message in perfect English, Mandarin, Hindi, Spanish, Arabic, and 200 other Earth languages simultaneously. "We come in peace and fellowship," the translation began. "The Galactic Council welcomes humanity to the interstellar community." 3 days later, after frantic global deliberations, High Emissary Zixlor of the Aqualian Empire was permitted to land at United Nations headquarters in New York. The alien diplomat stood nearly 7 feet tall, humanoid but with azure skin that rippled like water when they moved. 4 smaller tentacles framed a face with 3 large, intelligent eyes. Secretary General James Davidson welcomed the emissary in the General Assembly Hall, where world leaders gathered in unprecedented unity. "We have watched your civilization with great interest," Zixlor spoke, voice melodious and strangely calming. "Your species shows remarkable potential despite your technological limitations." Davidson maintained a diplomatic smile. "We appreciate your kind assessment of humanity, Emissary Zixlor." The alien gestured, and 6 attendants entered carrying ornate containers that hummed with energy. "The Council offers Earth these gifts as a gesture of goodwill." The containers opened, revealing technologies beyond human comprehension. Zixlor explained each one. A medical device that could cure any cancer in seconds, an energy crystal that could power North America indefinitely without pollution, and schematics for faster-than-light travel. "These are merely preliminary offerings," Zixlor continued. "Upon acceptance of Council membership, Earth will receive full technological integration, protection from cosmic threats, and representation among the 317 spacefaring civilizations that comprise our alliance." The world leaders exchanged glances. President Chen of China nodded slightly to Davidson, following their agreed strategy. Davidson cleared his throat. "Emissary, humanity is deeply honored by your generous offers and the Council's interest in Earth. However, after careful consideration, we must respectfully decline at this time." Zixlor's facial tentacles curled in apparent shock. The translator device attached to their chest briefly emitted static before stabilizing. "Perhaps I failed to adequately convey the benefits," the alien said, voice modulation shifting higher. "These technologies would eliminate disease, hunger, and energy scarcity on your world." Davidson nodded. "We understand the value of what you offer. Nevertheless, humanity wishes to develop at our own pace and solve our challenges through our own ingenuity." The emissary's 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession. They touched a device on their wrist, and holographic displays appeared, showing Earth free from pollution, humans living in apparent harmony. "I am authorized to offer immediate climate restoration and extended lifespans for all humans," Zixlor said, voice now carrying a note of confusion. "The Council has never been refused before." Davidson maintained his calm smile. "Would you care for some tea, emissary? It's a human custom when discussing important matters." 20,000 light-years away, in the massive Council hub station orbiting a binary star system, representatives of 317 species watched the transmission in stunned silence. Supreme Counselor Ketra, an ancient being resembling a mantis crossed with a sequoia tree, broke the silence. "Analyze everything. Their body language, their dwelling structures, their communication patterns," the Supreme Counselor mandated. "No species has ever refused membership. There must be something they want that we haven't offered." Ambassador Trell of the militaristic Krell Imperium leaned forward. "Or something they're hiding." "Prepare a better offer," ordered Ketra. "Triple the technological package. We must bring humans into the fold before they develop independently. It's for their own protection. And ours." Senior diplomat Ishvara spent 3 Earth weeks consuming human media broadcasts. Her quarters aboard the diplomatic vessel Light of Council resembled a shrine to human culture. Walls covered with images from human films, literature excerpts, and popular music playing softly in the background. As a Mendari, her species specialized in cultural analysis, their neural structures literally reshaping to better understand alien thought patterns. Fascinating, she whispered, adjusting her translation implant while watching a human documentary about space exploration. They dream of reaching the stars despite their primitive technology. Such yearning must be the key. The Council's second diplomatic mission arrived with considerably more fanfare than the first. 5 iridescent ships performed an aerial display above Manhattan before the primary vessel descended to the UN landing pad. Earth's defense forces monitored the spectacle with outward appreciation and inward vigilance. Dr. Helen Chen, Earth's chief negotiator and former quantum physicist, led the greeting party. Unlike the formal reception for the first contact, this meeting had been arranged in the UN Botanical Gardens, a calculated decision to create a more relaxed atmosphere. Esteemed representatives of Earth, HFY began, her slight frame draped in ceremonial robes designed to mimic human formal wear. The Council has heard your concerns about developing at your own pace. Dr. Chen smiled politely. We appreciate the Council's consideration. HFY gestured, and her assistants, each from a different Council species, brought forward 3 devices that hummed with power. These gifts come with no obligation to join the Council immediately. Consider them gestures of friendship between spacefaring peoples. The first device projected a hologram of Earth, then demonstrated how it could eliminate environmental damage overnight. The second showed human cellular structures being repaired and enhanced, extending potential lifespans by centuries. The third unfolded into a quantum computing matrix that would advance human technology by 5 centuries. Each gift addresses what our analysis identifies as humanity's greatest challenges, HFY explained: climate instability, biological limitations, and technological development constraints. Dr. Chen studied each demonstration carefully before responding. These are remarkable technologies, Diplomat HFY. Would you care to join us for lunch while we discuss them? Our chefs have prepared dishes inspired by descriptions of your homeworld's cuisine. The diplomatic team appeared pleased by this unexpected cultural gesture. As they dined under flowering trees, Dr. Chen asked dozens of questions about Council species, their histories and developmental paths, but noticeably few about the gifts themselves. Meanwhile, in a secure facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Adebayo Okonkwo watched live feed from microscopic scanning devices hidden throughout the garden. Each alien technology emitted distinctive energy signatures that Earth's recently developed sensors recorded in exhaustive detail. They're revealing more with each visit, he noted to the assembled scientists. The propulsion systems on their ships this time were completely unshielded, almost as if they want us to see. Dr. Sanjay Kapoor nodded as he analyzed incoming data. They're so confident in their technological superiority that operational security seems unnecessary to them. Their arrogance is our advantage. Back in the garden, Dr. Chen delicately steered the conversation away from Earth's technological deficiencies and toward cultural exchange. The meal concluded with HFY appearing genuinely moved by humanity's hospitality. Now, regarding your generous offers, Dr. Chen finally said, while we are deeply appreciative, Earth's nations have collectively decided to maintain our independence at this time. HFY's expression shifted to one of genuine bewilderment, but our predictive models indicated a 99.8% probability of acceptance with this package. What could humanity possibly want instead? Dr. Chen smiled. Perhaps something that cannot be given, only earned. Our own future, shaped by our own hands. Aboard the Council hub station, the Diplomatic Assessment Committee watched the transmission in disbelief. Impossible, muttered Chief Analyst Vortex. No species has ever rejected 2 consecutive offers. Their behavior contradicts all known sociological development patterns. Perhaps, suggested an elder member, we are not dealing with a standard evolutionary path. The Grand Council chamber had never seen such disorder in its 12,000 cycles of operation. Representatives from 20,000 star systems crowded the massive amphitheater. Traditional speaking protocols abandoned as dozens of species shouted over one another. The humans must possess weapons technology beyond our understanding, insisted Ambassador J. Kerr of the Serpentine Sith Collective, scales bristling with agitation. Why else would they refuse our protection unless they believe themselves more powerful? The crystalline Lumina delegate chimed melodically, light patterns flashing across her translucent form. Our ancestral texts speak of godlike beings who would test our worthiness. These humans match 7 of the 9 prophesied attributes. Supreme Counselor Ketra struck the ancient resonance staff against the chamber floor 3 times, its deep tone temporarily silencing the chaos. "We will have order," the ancient being announced. This obsession with humanity has disrupted council business for nearly a standard cycle. They are merely a primitive species making irrational choices. Science Director Alon, a small gray being with enormous eyes, activated the central projection system. "With respect, Supreme Counselor, primitive species do not behave as humans do. My team has analyzed their information networks. They discuss our visits openly, democratically debating the merits of our offers." "A clever deception," countered Security Administrator Krelix, mandibles clicking with irritation. "While we observe their public deliberations, they likely prepare for aggression." Meanwhile, across council space, rumors about humanity spread with remarkable speed. In the markets of Vexalia Prime, merchants sold trinkets allegedly based on secret human technology. In the educational hives of the Trill Consensus, scholars debated whether humans represented an entirely new evolutionary path. Religious revivals broke out in 14 systems, each claiming humans as proof of their particular prophecies. On Earth, the global scientific community worked with quiet intensity. In a repurposed particle accelerator complex beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Elena Velas led a team analyzing data collected during each council visit. "Their faster-than-light drive doesn't bend space the way we theorize," she explained to the assembled scientists and military observers. "It creates a bubble of altered physical laws. Our calculations suggest we can reproduce a primitive version using materials available on Earth." General Okonkwo nodded approval. "How soon?" "6 months," Dr. Velas replied. "Maybe less if the Council sends another delegation. Each visit fills in more gaps in our understanding." Half a galaxy away, on the Council's Deep Space Monitoring Station Outpost Zeta 9, Junior Observer Trax nearly fell from his chair when the anomaly alert sounded. The reading showed a brief energy signature consistent with a crude faster-than-light bubble forming near Earth's moon before collapsing. "Impossible," he muttered, checking the equipment for malfunction. Finding none, he transmitted the data to Council headquarters with the highest priority classification. Within hours, emergency sessions convened across Council space. The Containment Directorate, a body that had not met in full assembly for 2,000 years, gathered to address what many viewed as an unprecedented crisis. "They've achieved rudimentary faster-than-light capability without Council guidance," announced First Containment Director Folar, her tendriled face displaying the purple hue of extreme concern. "Our models predicted they were at least 3 centuries from such technology." In the tense silence that followed, Elder Counselor Zinra finally voiced what many feared. "If humans can advance this rapidly while rejecting our knowledge, what will they become if left to develop independently?" The Council exists to guide species along safe, predictable paths of development. Unguided advancement has historically led to. The Elder didn't finish the sentence. There was no need. Everyone present knew the histories of species that had developed without Council oversight. None of those civilizations still existed, and several had taken billions of innocent lives with them when they fell. The Council's 3rd diplomatic mission to Earth departed from all standard protocols. A single vessel, small, unadorned, and practically austere by Council standards, entered Earth's atmosphere without the customary light displays or communication broadcasts. Its pilot requested permission to land with surprising humility. Favenir of the Chactari stepped onto Earth soil alone. Standing 7 feet tall with leathery gray skin and eyes adapted for hunting, his species had evolved as apex predators before developing their remarkable strategic minds. Unlike previous emissaries, he wore simple attire resembling human business clothing. The meeting location was equally unexpected. A small conference room in the UN building with just 2 chairs and a chess table. Secretary General Davidson waited alone, security cameras disabled at the alien's request. You are wondering why the Council's most decorated military strategist comes as a diplomat, Favenir stated, taking the offered seat. Davidson nodded. I admit to curiosity. After 2 failed approaches, the Council recognized that we fundamentally misunderstood humanity. Favenir said, examining the chess pieces, an error I intend to correct through honesty. He gestured to the board. I have studied this game. It teaches strategic thinking, resource management, and sacrifice. May we play while we talk? Davidson made the opening move. Of course. As they played, Favenir revealed truths no previous emissary had shared. Council membership is not merely an honor. It comes with obligations and restrictions that previous diplomats conveniently omitted. Such as, Davidson moved his knight. Member species must adopt standardized cultural practices. Technological development follows predetermined paths. Military assets fall under Council command. Favenir captured a pawn. And most significantly, all members must contribute to our ongoing war. Davidson looked up. War. Favenir activated a small device on his wrist. Above the chessboard, a hologram appeared showing a star system where planets were being enveloped by what looked like living shadow. We call them Void Eaters. They emerge from tears in spacetime, consuming all matter and energy. For 12,000 years, the Council has fought to contain them at the galaxy's edge. The strategist's voice carried genuine gravity. Each member race must provide ships and soldiers proportional to their population. Davidson studied both the hologram and his opponent. Why wasn't this mentioned before? Council leadership believed such knowledge would frighten Earth into joining quickly. I disagreed. Favenir moved his bishop. My species values directness. Humans appear to share this trait. Davidson captured Favenir's queen with a move the alien hadn't anticipated. Check. And you're correct. We value honesty. The alien studied the board with newfound respect. You play unexpectedly. Most species follow standard opening strategies documented in Council archives. Humans often prefer creative approaches over established doctrine, Davidson replied. Regarding these Void Eaters, send us all information you have. We'll study them ourselves. Favenir's expression showed genuine surprise. You now know the greatest threat to all life in our galaxy exists, yet still refuse Council protection. We're not refusing cooperation, merely standardization, Davidson clarified. Humanity wishes to contribute on our own terms. When Favenir returned to Council space, his report created unprecedented consternation. The Council's inner circle convened an emergency session as the strategist presented his findings. Humans defy all behavioral models, he concluded. They acknowledge the Void Eater threat, but reject our established defensive framework. They seek information rather than protection. First Minister Zoltek, who had remained silent through previous debates about humanity, finally spoke. In 12,000 years, we have incorporated hundreds of species into our unified approach. Perhaps our mistake was assuming uniformity breeds strength. What if diversity of approach is exactly what we need against an enemy we've contained but failed to defeat? The chamber fell silent at the heretical suggestion. The Council's predictive matrix, which had modeled the decisions of thousands of species with perfect accuracy, attempted to analyze humanity's next move and crashed completely, its quantum processors unable to reconcile the contradictory variables that defined human decision-making. The Council hub station had never received a non-member vessel in its 10,000-year history. Security protocols had to be hastily adapted when Earth announced its intention to send a diplomatic mission. The human ship that emerged from faster-than-light travel near the massive station caused immediate sensation. Its design clearly incorporated elements of Council technology, but with modifications no Council engineer would have considered. Ambassador Miguel Torres stood at the viewport as they approached, his expression revealing nothing of the tension he felt. A former Special Forces commander before entering diplomacy, he had been selected for his unflappable demeanor and strategic mind. Remarkable, noted Dr. Eliza Okafor, Earth's lead xenotechnologist, gazing at the hub station. Their architecture reflects their philosophy: uniform, standardized, efficient but without creative flourish. Torres nodded. Remember our objective. We're not here to impress them, but to disrupt their thinking patterns. The reception awaiting them reflected the Council's conflicted approach. Formal honors suggesting diplomatic respect, surrounded by a military presence implying caution. Elder Counselor Zinra, a being resembling a gnarled tree with luminescent foliage, led the greeting party. "Welcome to Council Space, Ambassador Torres," the elder intoned, voice resonating with artificial harmony. "Your presence honors us, though the circumstances are unprecedented." Torres smiled. "Unprecedented seems to be humanity's specialty, Elder Counselor." The human delegation wore simple blue suits rather than adopting Council ceremonial attire, as was customary for visitors. This subtle rejection of protocol did not go unnoticed as they were escorted to the Grand Chamber. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the massive amphitheater, their diverse biological forms united by their adherence to Council standards. Torres noted how each species occupied its designated sector, how even their ceremonial garments followed prescribed patterns despite biological differences. Supreme Counselor Ketre addressed the assembly. "The human delegation has requested this extraordinary audience to present a proposal. The Council recognizes Ambassador Torres of Earth." Torres approached the central platform without the customary gestures of deference. The chamber rippled with murmurs at this breach of etiquette. "Distinguished representatives," Torres began, "Earth thanks you for this audience. After reviewing the information about the Void Eater threat, we propose a mutual defense agreement." He activated a holographic display showing Earth vessels with unique configurations. These ships incorporate both Council principles and human innovations. Earth offers specialized strike teams trained in tactical approaches the Void Eaters have not encountered before. The display shifted to show Earth as a meeting ground. Additionally, we propose Earth serve as a neutral research hub, where scientists from all species can collaborate without Council restrictions. Each discovery would benefit all participating worlds. Elder Counselor Zinray trembled visibly. "You dare dictate terms to civilizations 50,000 years your senior." The arrogance. "Not arrogance, Elder," Torres interrupted calmly. "Necessity. The Council's approach has contained the Void Eaters, but failed to defeat them. Perhaps after 12,000 years, new perspectives are needed." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices. Several military representatives studied the human ship designs with undisguised interest. Others expressed outrage at the presumption. Supreme Counselor Ketra restored order with difficulty. "The Council will deliberate on your proposal." As formal discussion began, emergency signals flashed on communication consoles throughout the chamber. A security administrator rushed to Ketra, whispering urgently. The Supreme Counselor's expression darkened. "We have received reports that 3 more systems on the galactic rim have gone silent. The Void Eater advance accelerates." In the ensuing silence, Kitol of the Merchant Guild broke protocol by addressing Torres directly. "While the Council deliberates, my people would discuss immediate trade options." Throughout the chamber, other representatives began nodding in agreement. The unified face of the Council was showing its first visible cracks as practical concerns overrode millennia of procedure. Council deliberations stretched into weeks while humanity quietly prepared. The leaked data from Thovnir's presentation spread rapidly through Earth's scientific community, catalyzing research that would have been impossible months earlier. In laboratories across the planet, hybrid technologies emerge. combining Council's scientific principles with human creativity and intuitive leaps that Council doctrine would have dismissed as illogical. Captain Sophia Diaz walked through the hangar bay of Earth's first deep space defense station, hidden in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon. 6 experimental vessels gleamed under the artificial lighting, their designs unlike anything humanity had built before. "Beautiful, aren't they?" Dr. Kapoor remarked, joining her inspection. "Each incorporates something the Council would consider a design flaw, but our simulations suggest these flaws create unpredictable tactical advantages." Diaz nodded. "My crew's been running combat drills for 3 weeks. The neural interfaces take some getting used to, but response times are 30% faster than conventional controls." "Captain," her communications officer called from across the bay. "Priority alert from long-range sensors. Something's coming through near Jupiter's orbit." The detection itself was remarkable. Earth shouldn't have been able to detect objects emerging from faster-than-light travel. But the reverse-engineered technology from Council visits had yielded unexpected breakthroughs. Diaz rushed to the command center as alert signals blared throughout the station. The tactical display showed an unidentified object decelerating into Jupiter's orbit, its energy signature matching nothing in their database. "Configuration is unlike any Council vessel," her science officer reported. "Energy readings suggest, sir, it matches partial data we have on Void Eater scouts." A chill settled over the command center. Earth had prepared for potential Council aggression, not an actual Void Eater incursion. General Okonkwo's face appeared on the main screen, his expression grave. "Captain Diaz, we have confirmation from our long-range observatory. It's definitely not Council technology. All evidence suggests a Void Eater scout vessel. Your orders are to engage and gather combat data." Diaz straightened. "Understood, sir." Eclipse Squadron, prepare for immediate launch. Within minutes, 6 experimental Earth vessels accelerated toward the intruder. On the primary Council monitoring station observing Sol system, senior observer Vex Lore watched in disbelief. "They're engaging a Void Eater scout with those primitive ships. Madness. Alert the defense fleet." But the nearest Council battle group was days away. The observers could only watch and record as the human vessels approached the writhing darkness of the Void Eater scout. Captain Diaz's voice remained steady as she issued commands. "Remember the simulation runs. Formation Delta. Draw its attention to designated impact zones." The Earth ships executed a complex dance around the Void Eater, deliberately allowing their shields to be grazed in specific areas. To Council observers, it appeared suicidal, but with each hit, the human vessels gathered crucial data about their enemies' attack patterns. "All units, execution point reached," Diaz announced. "Deploy countermeasures now." The human vessels simultaneously released devices that created localized distortions in spacetime, not unlike the tiers the Void Eaters themselves used, but controlled and focused. The Void Eater scout, caught between competing distortions, began to collapse in on itself. "Direct hit with primary weapons," Diaz ordered, her voice still calm. The combined firepower of the squadron struck the destabilized entity. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the Void Eater imploded, leaving nothing but dissipating energy. The Council observation post recorded everything. Within hours, the footage spread across galactic networks. Humans, without Council assistance or approval, had destroyed a Void Eater scout using weapons that, according to Council science, shouldn't work. Captain Diaz became an overnight sensation across thousands of worlds. Within days, 30 different species withdrew their ambassadors from the Council hub and dispatched them directly to Earth. The Council's 10,000-year authority began crumbling as species after species requested direct diplomatic relations with humanity. The Council's inner circle gathered in the Sanctum Chamber, a space unused for millennia. Ancient emergency protocols have been activated as reports flowed in from across galactic space. Dozens of member species formally requesting independence from Council oversight. "This is unprecedented," First Minister Zoltek stated, holographic displays showing diplomatic vessels from 17 different species currently in Earth orbit. The Trill Consensus, the Aquelian Empire, even the Krell Imperium, all requesting direct treaties with humanity. Supreme Counselor Ketra's voice had lost its customary resonance. 10,000 years of unity threatened by a single primitive species. The sanctum chamber doors opened to admit Security Administrator Krellex, who bowed deeply before speaking. Honored Circle, the situation deteriorates further. Our scientific enclaves report mass defections. Researchers across multiple disciplines are requesting transport to Earth. To what end? Zoltek demanded. The humans have announced an open science initiative with no research restrictions. Our typical constraints on dimensional physics, artificial intelligence, and biological enhancement do not apply. Silence fell across the chamber as the implications became clear. The Council had always restricted certain scientific paths, deemed too dangerous, a cornerstone of their governance. After hours of debate, the Inner Circle authorized Protocol Omega, the most dramatic diplomatic concession in Council history. A delegation would offer Earth unprecedented autonomy within the Council structure. Humanity would maintain independent military command, unrestricted scientific development, and exemption from cultural standardization. Secretary General Davidson didn't even meet with the delegation in person. Instead, a recorded message awaited them. Earth was hosting an interstellar summit and had invited all spacefaring species as equal partners. The only requirement was that representatives must speak for their species alone, not the Council. Council authority crumbled faster than anyone predicted. The Grand Chamber, once the galaxy's power center, stood nearly empty as representatives departed for Earth. On humanity's homeworld, the United Nations complex had been expanded into a massive diplomatic hub. Alien vessels of all descriptions filled Earth orbit as representatives from over 400 species arrived for the summit. Dr. Elena Winters led the opening presentation in a vast auditorium filled with diverse biological forms. Behind her stood a simple device, seemingly primitive compared to Council technology. This detection system, she explained to the multispecies audience, can identify void-eater dimensional tiers before they fully form, providing critical early warning. A ripple of excitement passed through the audience. The Council had never developed such capability, despite millennia of effort. This technology works precisely because we ignored Council research dogma, Dr. Winters continued. Sometimes the greatest innovations come from those who don't know something is supposed to be impossible. The presentation concluded with recorded testimony from planets recently saved by human early warning systems. Species that had faced extinction now had hope. In the Council hub's once bustling diplomatic quarter, emissary Zixlor sat alone, reading human philosophy texts and contemplating the rapid change. His datapad pinged with an unexpected notification, an invitation to join the Earth Summit as an independent representative rather than a Council emissary. After brief hesitation, he accepted, making preparations to depart immediately. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Torres hosted a small gathering of key alien representatives. The Merchant Guild's Cuttle raised a glass in a human toast gesture. To humanity, the alien said with genuine admiration, "Who showed us that uniformity is not unity, and that true strength comes from diversity of approach?" Captain Diaz, now directing Earth's expanded defense initiative, nodded in acknowledgement. "We never wanted to break the Council, only to chart our own path." "Sometimes," responded Fafnir, who had resigned his Council position to serve as the Chakteri's independent representative. "The most important paths are those not found on any existing map." 5 years after first contact, Earth's orbit teemed with vessels representing over 400 species. The massive space station constructed in geosynchronous orbit above the Himalayas served as the headquarters for what many now called the Solar Confederation. In the central chamber, representatives gathered for the formal signing of the Solar Accords. Unlike the rigid uniformity of Council architecture, this space celebrated diversity. each section designed to accommodate different biological needs while maintaining a harmonious whole. Secretary General Davidson stood at the central podium, flanked by leaders from former Council worlds and species that had never joined the Council at all. Today marks not an ending, but a beginning, Davidson addressed the assembly. The Solar Accords establish a framework that respects our differences while uniting us against common threats. The document before them outlined a fundamentally different approach to interstellar relations. Rather than the Council's top-down governance, the new alliance functioned as a true confederation, with each species maintaining sovereignty while agreeing to mutual defense and open scientific exchange. Let us be clear, Davidson continued. This confederation was born not from humanity's wisdom alone, but from the courageous choice of hundreds of species to embrace a new path forward. As representatives approached to sign the accords, Dr. Sanjay Kapoor stood with Captain Diaz at the observation deck overlooking Earth. The latest statistics are remarkable, Kapoor noted. Void Eater incursions have decreased by 78% since implementing our early warning network, and scientific breakthroughs have accelerated across all member worlds. Diaz nodded. Freedom to explore unorthodox approaches has unleashed creativity that Council restrictions had suppressed for millennia. Research from the newly formed Xenoanthropology Institute had revealed a startling truth. Humanity's unusual evolutionary path had created a unique approach to problem-solving. Developing in isolation on a predator-filled world with extreme environmental variations had fostered adaptability and creative thinking that the standardized Council species had lost through millennia of conformity. Former Council species, freed from technological and cultural restrictions, experienced Renaissance periods as they reclaimed their unique developmental paths. Art, literature, and music flourished alongside scientific advancement as cultural diversity became celebrated rather than regulated. On a private balcony overlooking the Himalayan peaks, former Supreme Councilor Ketra, now serving as a regular ambassador, shared tea with Secretary Davidson. The ritual had become a tradition between them over the years. "We offered your people the stars," Ketra said wistfully, watching sunrise paint the mountain peaks golden. "Everything we had achieved over 50,000 years of civilization." Davidson smiled. "And instead, we showed you how to look at them with fresh eyes." The Council believed uniformity created strength, Ketra acknowledged. "We feared diversity would lead to chaos and conflict." "Some diversity does lead to conflict," Davidson admitted, "but suppressing it leads to stagnation. The challenge is not eliminating our differences but learning from them." Below them, in the main conference hall, the final signatures were added to the Solar Accords. Species that once would have been mortal enemies under Council-mandated resource competition now engaged in trade and cultural exchange. A young Aqualian diplomat approached Captain Diaz with a formal bow. "Captain, my people have studied your battle tactics against the Void Eaters. We believe our aquatic perspective combined with your strategic approach could yield even more effective defense systems." Similar conversations echoed throughout the hall, each species offering its unique perspective rather than conforming to a single doctrine. As the celebration continued, Davidson raised a toast that was transmitted across thousands of worlds: to unity through diversity, to strength through adaptation, and to a future where we face the universe's challenges not as standardized parts of a machine, but as a living ecosystem of ideas and cultures.